Well, here I go. Today is that time again. I am going to be talking about what happened in September 2001. And I know people are wondering, Bill Rex, what happened in September 2001? Well, September 2001 was the day when there was a terrorist attack in New York City World Trade Center and the Pentagon in Arlington, Virginia, destroyed this 110-story twin towers and severely damaged a wing on the military headquarters. On September 2001, at 8:45 a.m. on a clear Tuesday morning, an American Airlines Boeing 767 loaded with 20,000 gallons of jet fuel crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York City. The impact left a gaping, burning hole near the 80th floor of the 110-story skyscraper, instantly killing hundreds of people and trapping hundreds more in higher floors. As the evacuation of the tower and its twin got underway, television cameras broadcasted live images of what initially appeared to be a freak accident. Then, 18 minutes after the first plane hit, a second Boeing 767, United Airlines Flight 175, appeared out of the sky, turned sharply toward the World Trade Center, and sliced into the South Tower near the 60th floor. The collision caused a massive explosion that showered burning debris over surrounding buildings and onto the street below. It immediately became clear that America was under attack. So September 11, 2001 was the deadliest day in history for New York City. Over 343 firefighters were killed. The attackers were Islamic terrorists from Saudi Arabia and several other Arab nations, reportedly financed by the Al-Qaeda terrorist organization of Saudi fugitive Osama bin Laden. They were allegedly acting in retaliation for America's support of Israel, its involvement in its Persian Gulf War, and its continuing military presence in the Middle East. Some of the terrorists have lived in the United States for more than a year and had taken flying lessons at American commercial flying schools. Others have slipped into the country in the months before September 11 and acted as a muscle in the operation. The 19 terrorists easily smuggled box cutters and knives through security at 3 East Coast airports and boarded 4 early mornings flights bound for California, chosen because the planes were loaded with fuel for the long transcontinental journey. Soon after takeoff, the terrorists commandeered the 4 planes and took the controls, transforming ordinary passengers' jets into guided missiles. Now to the Pentagon attack. As millions watched the events unfolding in New York, American Airlines Flight 77 circled over downtown Washington, D.C. before crashing into the west side of the Pentagon military headquarters at 9:45 a.m. Jet fuel from the Boeing 757 caused a devastating inferno that led into the structural collapse of the portion of the giant concrete building, which is the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense. All told, 125 military personnel and civilians were killed in the Pentagon, along with all 64 people aboard the airliner. Less than 15 minutes after the terrorists struck the nerve center of the U.S. military, the horror in New York took a catastrophic turn when the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed in a massive cloud of dust and smoke. The structural steel of the skyscraper, built to withstand winds in excess of 200 miles per hour and a large conventional fire, could not withstand the tremendous heat generated by the burning jet fuel. At 10:30 a.m., the north building of the Twin Towers collapsed. Only 6 people in the World Trade Center towers at the time of their collapse survived. Almost 10,000 others were treated for injuries, many severe. Meanwhile, a fourth California-bound plane, United Flight 93, was hijacked about 40 minutes after leaving Newark Liberty International Airport in New Jersey because the plane has been delayed in taking off. Passengers on board learned of events in New York and Washington via cell phone and airphone calls to the ground. Knowing that the aircraft was not returning to an airport as the hijackers claimed, a group of passengers and flight attendants planned an insurrection. The passengers fought the four hijackers and are suspected to have attacked the cockpit with a fire extinguisher. The plane then flipped over and sped toward the ground at upwards of 500 miles per hour, crashing into the World Field near Shanksville in western Pennsylvania at 10:10 a.m. All 44 people aboard were killed. Its intended target is not known, but theories include the White House, the U.S. Capitol, the Camp David presidential retreat in Maryland, or one or several nuclear power plants along the eastern seaboard. How many people died in 9/11 attacks? And this is the most people that people ask when 9/11 happened. So apparently a total of 2,996 people were killed in the 9/11 attacks, including the 19 terrorist hijackers aboard the four airplanes. At the World Trade Center, 2,763 died after the two planes slammed into the Twin Towers. That figure includes 343 firefighters and paramedics, 23 New York City police officers, and 37 Port Authority police officers who were struggling to complete an evacuation of the buildings and save the office workers trapped on higher floors. At the Pentagon, 189 people were killed, including 64 on American Airlines Flight 77, the airliner that struck the building. On Flight 93, 44 people died when the plane crash landed in Pennsylvania. Then the America response. At 7 p.m., President George W. Bush, who was in Florida at the time of the attacks and had spent the day being shuttled around the country because of security concerns, returned to the White House. At 9 p.m., he delivered a televised address from the Oval Office, declaring, "Terrorist attacks can shake the foundations of our biggest buildings, but they cannot touch the foundation of America. These acts shatter steel, but they cannot dent the steel of American resolve." In a reference to the eventual U.S. military response, he declared, "We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbored them." Operation Enduring Freedom, the American-led international effort to oust the Taliban regime in Afghanistan and destroy Osama bin Laden's terrorist network based there, began on October 7. Within 2 months, U.S. forces have effectively removed the Taliban from their operational power. But the war continued, as U.S. and coalition forces attempted to defeat a Taliban insurgency campaign based in neighboring Pakistan. Osama bin Laden, the mastermind behind the September 11 attacks, remained at large until May 2, 2011, when he was finally tracked down and killed by U.S. forces at a hideout in Abbottabad, Pakistan. In June 2011, President Barack Obama announced the beginning of large-scale troop withdrawals from Afghanistan. Well, this is it. I have finally finished reading the article, but that's not it for the video. I want to even talk about what I did in that day. So it was 9/11/01, right? And I wasn't really doing much at the time, but I was just sitting there watching the television until I got the emergency notice. You know, like the emergency alert, and immediately just pops on my television and saying that there will be a terrorist attack in New York City. And I was like, this should be interesting. And so I stick around in the news, watching it, and I saw the planes flying like crazy and crashed into the Twin Towers. And while I was watching it happening, I was like, wow, this is crazy. What is happening in New York City? Is this real? I need to go call somebody. And so I'm starting to get worried, and I begin to call my sister and Uncle Ben about what is happening right now. And yeah, they lived in Washington, D.C. at the time, and really, Washington, D.C., guys, that's like 4 hours away of where they live. And that is terrible, because something could be under attack from there. But they got lucky. So, when I was talking to them on the phone, I was wondering where are they at right now, and did you hear anything about the terrorist attack in New York City? And indeed, they do. They do know about it. And I'm going to tell you the craziest thing about what happened in that day with my sister and Uncle Ben. So, according to my sister and Uncle Ben, when the Twin Towers were being attacked, there were like many people running to the Twin Towers. So, at one point, around with my sister and Uncle Ben were rushing at those people who were running to the Twin Towers, they just stopped those people and told them to stay back from the Twin Towers. Now, the thing is, if you are wondering, my sister and Uncle Ben weren't the only one that were saving those people. A few people joined with them too, and even the police. They were simply evacuating those people just in time. And I am so proud of them. Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Uncle Ben. Thank you for those people that were able to evacuate the people in their area just in time. I was 54 years old at the time, watching the broadcast, calling everybody in my family. My sister was there. My Uncle Ben was there. Then they helped to get those crazy people back on where they were previously. Thank you. May bless everyone that died in that time. Rest in peace, everyone. I watched that whole broadcast on television. The whole broadcast when it aired. Gosh, everyone, this is just so sad. Today marks 16 years to this day. The day this happened. It's crazy. Time flies like crazy. It gives me a strange feeling on how time is flying fast. And that feeling is how time is flying fast. The time is flying like an airplane. And when the time is flying like an airplane, and immediately afterwards crash into the Twin Towers. And that means that today is that time again when 9/11 happened. Get what I'm saying right now? You get what I'm saying? Thank you for watching, subscribers. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Leave a like if you know about 9/11 and if you respect to everyone that died in 9/11. This is so sad, guys. I can't believe it's been 16 years when this happened. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye.